Catholic Church played a key role
They did.
in what happened in 1994 and what led to 1994, spreading that hate. And eventually we see in 1994, they participated in the massacre.
Yeah.
The churches were used to lure in Tutsis.
The massacres were done in churches, church buildings. Yes.
So the question that I have, though, is how, like, I still don't understand, and despite everything, all the research I've done, is how could that hate go to that level where they start killing their neighbors, their friends? Like, what was were people brainwashed to a level to believe Tutsis were of a lower class, or that Tutsis were evil, or that Tutsis were not Africans? What was it that led?
It was mainly that Tutsis were evil. Simply that. And it was being taught every day from childhood. And then the politicians who thought playing that divisive political card was going to put them into power, and they just embraced it. By the way, we are talking about that time, but even now, I'm sure maybe if you followed what is going on in Eastern Congo, we will come to the Congo, but the same thing. The same hate speech, the same killings, the same persecution of people.
And the RPF, I think it's called. Not RPF, what's the group called? The one that was leading the FDLR.
Yes, FDLR.
Which are the people, they're the same people that had the mentality that led to the genocide in 1994.
Actually, most of them left here, those who were old enough. Maybe you might have seen recently, yesterday or the other day, they brought some of them who were captured in the fighting in Eastern
One of the generals.
Congo. Yes. Some of them, those who were old enough, went and stayed and grew up there and have been organizing and working with the government in Congo. The young ones also grew up in the hands of their parents or relatives, and they were taught to do the same. So
that same brainwash mentality.
Exactly, it's brainwashing, nothing else.
So we go back to the 90s, to what led to that horrific year of 1994. The constant killings were happening, and what we found out is they started planning for the genocide. So they had list of names of people they want to kill, especially different leaders, and they even rehearsed how to kill as many people as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And that's when the RPF, the group that was formed in Uganda, and that you became eventually the leader of, and you were one of the commanders, was formed to fight the Hutu government. So Hutus took power in the 1950s when the Belgians left. They were very ruthless, not Hutus, extremist Hutus, very different because there's moderate Hutus as well. And the extremist Hutus were just killing off Tutsis. Again, for people listening, both were Rwandans, were citizens of Rwanda. There's really no difference. No religious differences. They don't look any different, to be honest. And by 1994, what happened is, you guys, the RPF, was signing a peace agreement with the president at the time. And this is a pretty important story because that's what triggered the genocide, allegedly. So the agreement was signed in late 1993 and was being implemented. And then the president's plane was shot down. There's different theories on who shot it down. And the genocide began. So before we go into the genocide, can you tell me about that period, about the peace agreement? I saw photos of you at the UN, I think it was, signing the deal. So were you guys hopeful back then? Did you believe that peace agreement between the Tutsis and the Hutus was legitimate and was going to be executed, was going to be implemented? I'd love to hear the story then, and then the day that the president died.
First, the president died in 1994.
Yes. April, I think it was.
Yes, the peace agreement was reached in 93. But before the peace agreement was signed, months before, there was breakdown of that process, the peace process, in a sense that massacres, relatively, it's a genocide, actually, of people was happening based on their ethnic background. In 93, I remember the peace process broke down in 1993, February. So, and because of those killings in a place called Chibirira in the northwest, there were these ethnic Tutsis who were living there and they were massacred. So our people were asking, they said, we are here talking about peace and how to bring about peace. At the same time, you are continuing the killings. So what are we doing here negotiating a peace settlement if you're not going to stop killings? That's what broke down the... And around that time, man called Bagosora and others who were part of this, these were the extremists who were in the government. Not only was he heard saying things, he actually told people directly, including our own people who were in Arusha for negotiations, that he's going back home to continue preparation for an apocalypse, as he called it. So this was way before Habyarimana died.